Bum, bum, bum. Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome to World War K! We're playing Kerbal Space Program. Now we're going to dive straight in, and you saw last time that we made the rods from God thing, we tried to use them, and they weren't effective because the game just doesn't seem to simulate the complete path, so it hit the ground without passing through the object that was in between, because of the way the game simulates it. So we're going to slow down before we hit the target, and we're going to hang in the air on a parachute, and then we're going to fire missiles downwards. Which is a great idea, because I wouldn't say that's actually like what happens in real life to a certain extent, but it's an adaptation of something that actually exists in real life, which is radar-seeking missiles. Basically, in warfare, where you've got like enemy air radar stations and you want to take them out, you can fire a missile which will lock onto the radar signature and then follow that back, and that'll blow up the radar station. So, the counteract to that is to turn the radar station off temporarily, the missile loses its lock and it falls out the air, or just flies in a straight line, or whatever. So, here's the cunning part. Some missiles, including the British, I can't remember what it's called, there's the British anti-radar missile, the equivalent of the American HARM, although I assume that the American HARM has since been updated to include this method, but I know that the British version has it. Basically, if the radar station goes offline while it's homing, it will deploy a parachute and loiter. And it will just sit there until they turn the station on, at which point it'll rehome again. It's a great idea. Either you turn your radar station off for such a long period of time that the missile has to loiter all the way to the ground, or at least below the threshold altitude, or you lose your radar station, rather than just turning it off for a minute and then turning it back on. So that's actually a really, well, it's kind of a thing we can follow in KSP. So what we've done is we've got these basically they're a camera attached to a probe core, attached to a servo arm, with loads of missiles on board, attached to a fuel tank and parachutes. So we use the fuel tank and the parachute to deorbit it, then we pop the parachute to make it hang over the top. We turn the servo arm, point at the thing using the camera, and then we fire the missiles. Now let's check if we can fire it, because they are somewhat clipping with each other. To use the quad stack separator, they do somewhat clip. So, yep, that's actually a successful test. I know it exploded, but it didn't, you know, clip weirdly and blow up when we launched it, which is what I was afraid would happen. Now, the test to see is if it actually has enough thrust-to-weight ratio. So let's launch it, and also then see how long it will hang, and if we can then turn the servo around. Because I'm afraid that with the weight on the end of the servo arm, by turning the servo we might just tip the entire craft sideways or whatever, and not really get much of an angle. And of course we want a decent angle so we can aim and fire downwards. So, let's light it up. Yep, so we definitely have enough thrust. And let's try and get it to, you know, a reasonable altitude. So, you know, 500 meters would be good, because that's parachute level. And engine shutdown, falling, deploy. Turn off the SAS, because that's probably going to mess it slightly. Although probes don't have much SAS, so probably isn't going to mess around with it too much. Now we're in the camera, looking downwards. It's a lovely view, isn't it? Can't really see all that much. We can actually turn it, which is what I was really worrying about. That the probe doesn't have much SAS, but I was hoping we could get the turning action would be from the probe's SAS. Otherwise we'd have to add a rototron. But the probe's SAS does seem to be enough, and we can fire missiles downwards and explode. So, you know, that's cool. It all works. As we intended. We should probably try the lamp out first, because I put a couple of lamps on the front so you can see in the dark. We are descending pretty quick. That's my only issue. With this rate of descent we won't have a long loiter time, and I was hoping for a long loiter time so we could, you know, aim properly, but... Although, you know, the lamps are pretty good. The battery pack should provide plenty of power, because we get power when we fire at the engines, and then the probe uses power, but other than that, it's not much. So, I've skipped building the entire launch stage, because it's just a standard launch stage. Bit of asparagus staging, some solid rocket boosters. Boring, so let's fire this puppy up, and, you know, give it a go. We're going to geosynchronous orbit, so should be pretty simple. Just wait for daylight so you can actually see the rocket better. And fire it up! Oh, we're going sideways. Why are we going sideways? Oh, balls. Yeah, the top probe core is upside down, so we have to switch to a different probe core for the launch stage, and I may have forgotten to do that. Let's just try that again! That wasn't going to go well. This time, select any one of the top probe cores. There we go! Fire! This is all at 4 times speed, of course, because watching it at normal speed would probably get a bit boring after a while. Drop them, no problem. Drop them, no problem. And of course, now these are laterally, well, they're parallel, sort of, to the ground, at least, in one direction, so that won't be an issue. I.e., that they won't fall into our engine or whatever and blow us up when we drop these, so, you know, we'll be fine. I actually think we've probably given it too much delta V. I get into the habit with this of just making my things too powerful. I guess when we actually have the cost system and the whole campaign thing, I probably will actually have to be a little bit more frugal about my designs instead of just going, give all the delta V, then they'll get to orbit. Which is a little bit of it's like a sledgehammer with a walnut. Admittedly, this isn't sledgehammer, this is more like, I don't know, what's a hammer between a sledgehammer and a normal hammer? I'm not a hammer expert. I don't know, you just use weights to refer to hammers. It's like using a 5 kilo hammer to crack a walnut. I don't know. Don't blame me. Anyway, we did dump that section. It did have some delta V left in it, but I couldn't be asked having more space debris out at this area. So hopefully, by dropping it there, it will fall back into the gravity well. Which would be nice. But otherwise, we'd have definitely more space debris, and we can't really deal with that. Anyway, now we're getting closer. I did skip forwards because you don't see the iterative process of burn towards it. Reduce velocity, burn towards it, reduce velocity. And yep, I whack it, because why not? You'll notice I have lost a probe. We had some issues. The last stage wouldn't decouple for some reason, so I had to blow it up with the probe, which went very strangely. So yeah, we're down one missile drone thing. So yeah, basically we're using drones now. These they're sort of half missile, half drone, and they come from orbit. So there's not really any real life parallels, but I think the radar hunting missiles are probably the closest. Now, what is this, you say? This is the base defenses for the Kethane crater. The thing on top is actually... Well, there were several ways to do it, okay? I could send up each turret that we're going to have individually, which would be like 4 launches, and they'd all have to get pinpoint accuracy landing. Or I attach 4 turrets to some sort of bus system, and then we land the bus, and we have launch issues, because, I don't know. Well, we're going to have to launch this manually, I think. Yeah. We're going to launch this manually, because apparently MacLeod doesn't like it. It would help if I actually turn the engines on before I release it. Yeah, oops. I ballsed up there. I made a boo-boo. Anyway, engines on, fire it up, rotation on. There we go. Won't let MacLeod do this one because MacLeod fucks this launch up. Anyway. So yeah, this is basically a bus thing, buggy, with 4 turrets underneath it. And those turrets we can then drop when we land the bus at wherever we want, because the bus allows us to get pinpoint precision, because we can just drive it around. Now the bus is basically a scaffolding with some small solar panels attached to the turrets, so it will draw the power from them as well. It's got the power module of the very turrets themselves and its own power module. It's got wheels and a couple of small retro thrusters so that it can land. Should be fine. In theory. Anyway, and there's another stage you can see just there with the side-mounted nuclear engines, which is the one that will get it to moon orbit. And when we're in moon orbit, we'll then deorbit ourselves and land in the Keithing crater. Of course, this Keithing crater is nice and defensible, roughly flat on the bottom. Should be quite an easy task, I think. So, we're just finished our burn. We're now using the nuclear engine stage to get us to the moon. Well, we're just finishing our burn. We've dropped the orange tanks, and there we go. Probably didn't need to use that much delta V, judging by the orbit. That's quite excessive, but oh well. Anyway, skipping straight ahead, we're now in lunar orbit. Yay! Now, I'm thinking if we drop that nuclear engine stage, because that weighs quite a lot, so we're using the retro thrusters. We're going to drain the last bit of fuel from that stage, because we need all the fuel we can get. And then we'll do a couple of that stage. So there we go, a couple of stage. Oh, bollocks, yeah, because we're thrusting retrograde, we're thrusting into that, so it doesn't have anywhere to go. If we had some Steptrons on it, then it'd be fine. This is the design flaw. If we do it again in future, I'll think of this. I plan to actually retrograde and then burn us down on the retro engines alone. We wouldn't need that stage, but I think we actually do need it. The delta V isn't much. We've only got, what, 575 left? So we're going to be tight on delta V for this maneuver. So I have my reservations about this landing. I'm going to let MacLeod do most of it, because now we've flipped over, MacLeod actually will be okay. In theory. It's also very precise, and we kind of need the preciseness to be able to get into the crater itself. Because I don't want to have to drive the buggy like 5 kilometers off camera to show you, because that gets annoying. So yeah, we're now in load range. We can see the Keithing rover. And we're on the last tricks of fuel. 100 delta V left. What's our altitude? Oh crap. Crap. 30. 25. Oh crap! No, we don't want the landing legs out. Those landing legs aren't for you, they're for the... oh, and for some reason I can't use G to turn off half of them. I have to use... Oh, well, manually. Are we nearly out of fuel? We're nearly out of fuel. Just do this bit, and we're out of fuel. Bollocks! Up! Oh! Try and write it. No, that's the wrong way. Crap. Bollocks! Whoa. Oh, yes. Yeah, I landed it. Don't tip over. Okay, let's look at the damage. We've lost a landing leg on one of the turrets, and all the wheels are popped, so we can't go anywhere at the moment. But it looks like we might actually be okay. Everything else is intact, it looks like. So all we've got to do is fix the wheels, and I think we'll be able to run this around. It depends which leg it is on that turret that got damaged. Because the turrets need the legs to be able to stop them from falling over. So we may be down to 3 turrets, at worst. But I think everything else is intact. We're going to have to send a Kerbal up to have a look. And you can see here the turrets. Look, they're little Gatling cannons, some lights, servo, Rotron, big battery. Pretty boring and standard. Okay, but we have news. You remember those Nat tank column that we attacked last time? Well, they've parked up. They've obviously got wise. Not wise. No, they obviously feel overly confident, yeah. They're all grouped up and parked up for the night. Assuming that we can't really harm them because our attack really did fail. So, let's try our new weapon on them. Here we go, it's launching. I do like how they launch nice and slowly, sort of away from the station, and then we burn. It looks pretty cool. I won't turn the lights on now because I don't know how fast that battery is going to drain. And it takes quite a while to deorbit from this stage, so... Smart SES, point me retrograde, please. Okay, so retrograde is going to be at right angles to the station. You know what, since this is more like a regular landing that we've got parachutes and everything, why don't we let MacLeod do it? See if MacLeod can actually do it. I don't know, recently I've been very much into testing the bounds of MacLeod and seeing what it can and can't do. But yeah, there you can see our little landing thing, and let's tell MacLeod to do it from here. Of course, we'll have to do the shooting and everything and the deploying the parachute probably, but MacLeod can take us down because it is basically a regular landing. We're coming in, and then we deploy parachute. We're not retroburning because we have a parachute, so... Now I was going to compare these to like actual drones and stuff used in current warfare, but they're very different. Drones are much more about the loiter time, the ability to surveil before making a shot, basically about being there a long time because they're losing the weight of the pilot and everything the pilot needs. That's really the advantage of drones in Modern Warfare. Not Modern Warfare is in the game, Modern Warfare is in, you know, actual Modern Warfare. We don't really have that. We really are a very short-term weapon. Oh, we flipped over. MacLeod was trying to keep us the other way around. I wonder if that's going to affect our trajectory at all. Let's see, what does the thingy say? 200 meters away, 300 meters away. Oh crap, deploy parachutes and let's get out of here. 700 meters away. What? How is our predicted landing point moving away from them? Because, like... Surely parachute should slow us down, but we still overshot, and I predict... MacLeod, why are you so strange? I understand, right? You were trying to come in arse first to fire the engine. But we're going to have to do, like, a completely different probe now, because, like, this is our view. We can't see anything. Oh well, we'll have to fire everything off because otherwise they'll get hold of that technology, and we don't want to let the NAT get hold of like all our advanced weapons and stuff. And by advanced I mean semi-okay. Like, we don't want to get hold of these Sparrow missiles. We develop them specially, and we don't let them get hold of technology, so let's fire them off and get rid of them. Or we could just, yeah, we just fire the engine. Destroy ourselves. There we go. Wait, what? Oh no! That's not destroying it. It's really hard to hit decouple when it's spinning around like that. Well, they've definitely got hold of that missile. That's unfortunate. Hopefully they won't find it, or there won't be anything useful left on it. Maybe it'll be too damaged. Anyway, this is our second shot. I've omitted the whole part about it launching, because that'll take some time. And I don't trust MacLeod at all. You notice we're not using MacLeod. Our predicted landing zone is only 60 meters away. I was about to say 50, but 60 meters now. I think that's pretty good for, you know, manual control. Oh, loading range. The NAT tanks are now in. And we're a little bit short. Hopefully this will be fine. I don't know what the angle is that we can see, so let's play around with this. Which way are you pointed? And turn. I don't know which way I'm meant to be turning. I can't see anything. I can see the ground. Maybe I don't know. Okay, we'll turn that way. So let's turn that way and then rotate the craft. That'll work, right? Rotating. It's an awfully close. Yeah, we were zoomed in. No, we're out of range, I think. Oh, no, we're out of range. Really out of range, yeah. What's our distance from target? 150 meters now. At least we fired off all the missiles. That's what matters, right? Okay, our last drone. We have one left. Here we go. Might be a bit short, maybe? No, it might be... Ooh, it looks good. It looks really good. Slow down, slow down. Right, ever so slightly short, like, if anything. Right, let's try. Directly over the top! I swear that was a hit. We got no effect there. That was weird. Okay, maybe that was just to the side? That's definitely a hit. That is so a hit. We've got that guy. What? Oh, come on. We at least hit, like, one of them. Probably, like, 2 or 3. No idea where that went off. That's ridiculous. What? You can't hit anything anymore. Was there some weird update or whatever in 0.21 that I'm, like... Oh, well, let's try using this. Drop. Fire up the engine a little bit, and stop. Okay, we definitely clipped that guy there, and nothing happened. Well, it's been an extremely successful episode yet again. We're not doing very well with them. But we have a secret weapon up our sleeves. Using the magical force of the Gatling cannons. It didn't take off very well. Let's try that again. We'll fly over the top of them, and then using just our engines, which are Gatling cannons, we will destroy them. That is hopefully the plan. And fire! We lost one on launch. I don't know why that's happening. Shell casings everywhere. They're overheating now. That's bad. Well, at least it lands. You know, that's more than we can say for most things in Kerbal Space Program. Anyway, I've been EnterElysium, and stay shiny, people.